Hello, my name is Gary Gomes. I'm a Vedic astrologer from New Bedford, Massachusetts, in the United States of America. I've been a Vedic astrologer for basically around close to 30 years. I started with Vedic astrology. I didn't start with Western and go to Vedic. I started with Vedic, then went to Western for a brief while. And I'd like to share some observations about Mahadishas with you, and also talk about the forthcoming eclipse. Basically, Mahadasha sequences. I wanted to get a little bit more into the meat of what different Mahadashas do. Basically, if we're talking about the Mahadasha is a major planetary period, which is called is based around a system called Vimshotri Mahadasha. And Vimshotri literally means 120 or 120 years. So the Vimshotri Mahadasha is essentially the length of time it takes every planet to give us full results. And one thing you'll notice about Vimshotri Mahadashas is that certain planets will give radically different results from each other during their Mahadasha periods, not just because they're badly placed or well placed, but mainly because of the nature of the planets themselves. So if you start life, let's say you start life and you start life under a Saturn Mahadasha. Life will be relatively slow, relatively stable, relatively even. It probably won't be very luxurious, but it'll probably be very slow, very stable. If you go to Mercury, it'll start to move a lot because Saturn stays in the sign 2.5 years. Mercury's nature is quick and it changes signs quickly. K2 likewise it'll give fast results at the beginning of the Mahadasha, and it will give unpredictable results throughout the Mahadasha, but it will give great opportunities for spiritual growth, for advancement, for increased capacity. And sometimes K2 punishes us, sometimes it points the way to freedom, sometimes it actually helps us achieve great recognition in the world. Venus Mahadashas will tend to give us a lot of what we want, unless Venus is really badly placed. But Venus is, contrary to what some people believe, Venus is kind of an aggressive Mahadasha. Venus is perhaps the most misunderstood planet, I think, in Vedic astrology, because everyone says, oh, well, it's all sex and marriage and things like that. Every aspect of Venus has to do with is sacrifice. It has to do with devotion. It has to do with fighting. It has to do with being willing to surrender yourself for another in terms of love. But in other terms, it has to be willing to surrender yourself for an ideal. So Albert Einstein's Venus Mahadasha was all about proving his theorems and and it was hard work, contrary to what most people think about Venus Mahadashas. A lot of Venus Mahadashas are really hard work. They're study intensive, and they're very passionate about what they believe. Some Mahadashas are short and intense. Jerry? Yes. Okay, so we're back, and essentially,